I'm back with another episode of What It Takes, and today I'll be talking about another legendary Halo campaign, Halo 5. However, this time solo. I thought I'd do this because you do get an achievement for doing the campaign solo for 100 gamer score, and then another one for doing it legendary for 60. A lot of the tips will apply for co-op legendary, but I consider legendary solo a lot harder, so some tips will be aimed for solo play. I'll split this video into separate sections, which are slightly different than the previous What It Takes video. So number 1, the change in gameplay, number 2, the frustrating difficulty, number 3, the level design, number 4, utilising the AI, and number 5, the boss battles. So the last video was on Halo C, and there's been quite a change in gameplay this time. So first of all, we've got Sprint now, which is introduced in Halo Reach, and we can use this to skip enemies and sometimes entire fight sections. Hit markers have been added, controversially, to know when you're doing damage. Your weapon arsenal is bigger, you've got new Forerunner, Covenant, UNSC weapons, but some weapons variants can be found, such as the Answer, which is a saw with exploding bullets, which can help out in Warden fights. These can be utilised to make legendary playthroughs easier, while the Covenant headshots are still the best option, and buffed hunters are a different case. You should still aim for headshots on Promethean crawlers and soldiers. However, with Prometheans you've got to focus on taking down their armour. For example, with the Knights, they've got 2 glowing orbs, and sometimes when you destroy them, they will roar at you, exposing their head for headshots. Promethean weapons are surprisingly effective at doing this, so I'd recommend you pick those up, such as a bolt shot, which only needs 3 shots to expose your soldier's face. So combinations like these are really effective. I was actually quite surprised at how difficult Halo 5 was on Solo Legendary. I knew what I had to do, but I just kept feeling like I was dying really unfairly, and not dying due to my own mistakes like in Halo CE. For example, there's this bit in the breaking, it's the bit before you fight the Wardens, and it's a really difficult fight, so you really have to be careful with positioning. So the way I died, I guess maybe it was preventable, but what happened is I made my way right to the end of the room, and then I think I either got sniped by a primary rifle, which instantly kills you, not downs you, or hit with a Knight's incineration cannon. And like it just seems like how they can see you from like behind walls and stuff. I definitely prefer it if they put you in a down state, because some deaths in this game really should not kill you straight away, and sometimes I feel like it's really unfair. So I just prefer if you have a little warning to when you die in scenes like that, because it's just really unfair. But enough of me moaning about how you can die in this game. This problem is more directed to the Promethean enemies, but this can definitely happen with, like, you know, the Jackal snipers that you find in the Mission Blue team. If there's one aspect where Halo 5's campaign really shines, it's definitely the level design. The campaign is probably the worst Halo campaign in my opinion, but it was playable because its level design was fantastic and could rival some of the first Halos. Many sections can simply be completed by running through, but be aware that some fights require you to basically fight all enemies before you can move on, such as most of the Warden boss battle fights. When you lose all your shield and your health, you don't technically die, you go into a down state, and your teammates can revive you in this state, and when you're revived, you have a temporary overshield. You can utilise this by downing your teammates and reviving them, as the reviver also gets an overshield. When you do get downed, you'll get revived most of the time. However, when you press the request assistance button, if your friendly Spartans almost seem to like freeze for a second, it's really annoying, as if they're processing what you've done. And this can be really frustrating because they can be walking towards you and you press the revive button, they just freeze, and it's really annoying. And you don't want to die in a tricky spot either, because they will not be able to get you from there. Finally, the number one cause of controller breaking in the Halo 5 campaign, Warden boss fights. As boss battle goes, Warden boss fights are the only real boss fights you'll get in this game. Fighting Hunters is pretty difficult, and a bunch of Knights as well is almost like a mini boss fight, but these Wardens are very difficult to kill unless you know what to do. On Legendary, the most difficult fight in the game easily is the 3 Warden fights at the end of the breaking, and if you don't know what you have to do here, this could take you hours. So it took me about 15 minutes first time, but if you really don't want to know how to just fight these, you can just skip the fight itself, and I'll show you how to do that. I used this little trick here to get the complete the breaking achievement without dying, which was one of the only ones I need to 100% the game, which I finally did. So I might make a video on what it was like to 100% Halo 5. But basically with the Wardens you want to focus on their weak points. Every time you hit them a bunch, they'll expose their back ready for a kill. And there are some other weak points as well. I really recommend using pulse grenades on them because the pulse grenades are really effective at killing them. So that pretty much sums up the boss fights, and hopefully you don't have too much trouble with them. So once you master the new AI and gameplay, I'm pretty sure that you'll have what it takes to complete this campaign solo legendary. Thought I'd mention that you have to do the campaign solo legendary to get one of the achievements if you want 100% the game, and it's really satisfying when you get this achievement. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.